Perfect. Good to see you after
Good to see
a week.
you. Yeah.
Hopping 8,000 meters. I think we had a chat last year.
Right, right, right. Last year.
Kanchenjunga, yes, I was actually going through that video, so I remember what all we were talking about. So actually, it was Kanchenjunga, and yes, you were obviously part of Annapurna Kanchenjunga both, but yeah. So yeah, I'll just give a bit brief about today to the audience, and then we can start. So we have Satyadeep Gupta with us, and he is by profession he's an engineer. He's in the merchant navy. He's out in the seas most of the time, but uh, of his passions in the outdoors, he loves mountaineering. Uh, he's also he's also into skydiving, which he touched upon, last time. He hasn't been doing much into that. We'll obviously talk about that a bit, but yeah, I think mountaineering is something that he has, lately been focusing on. We are having him again on the show because last year he was part of the team B&C, which climbed Mount Annapurna and Kanchenjunga, and it was a very unique feat for us, very special because very few Indian people actually are able to successfully summit these challenging 8,000-meter peaks. And Mount Makalu was what we did this year, and it's as challenging. Uh, I was also going through some stats, and I think it was first climbed in the year 1955. And out of all the other 8,000s, I think this has been one of the least climbed peaks. Just about 300 to 400 summits. I think
Yeah.
as per the records till 2012, from what I checked, and probably then even lesser Indians doing it. That means because I think it was earlier. Obviously, these have been much popular with the Western audience then, and then slowly, obviously, the 8,000 meter peaks these are catching in popularity within India. So this makes Satyadeep one of those very few Indians who have actually accomplished this feat. So he has done three 8,000s in 2 years: Annapurna, Kanchenjunga, and Makalu. So also before we start, before I get on to more about Makalu, today our teams just summited Friendship Peak and the UT Kangadi. UT Kangadi, I think the team had to stop about 250 meters before because of the snow conditions, just a bit before. But yeah, it has been, considering how tough it has been this season so far because of a lot of snowfall in the month of April and May. I think it's commendable that people are giving their best and still trying and braving through all these conditions, because even I think now the forecast for a few days is about to
Yeah.
rain and snow in the hills because of the cyclone approaching. So that effects are going to come. So yeah. So Satya, mainly I'm going to start with asking the journey last year from Annapurna, Kanchenjunga to Makalu. What made you choose Mount Makalu? Is there a sequence that you are following with these 8,000 meters, or what was it?
Uh, I honestly there's no sequence. Like honestly, though I think Bharath was doing Makalu, so he said, Satya, let's go to Makalu, and I was like, okay, I'm planning to go for any 8,000 meters, so Makalu is as good as any. And actually, somebody told us that Makalu is pretty easy. I mean, yeah, I
Right.
don't know who said, because he particularly told me, Satya, it's very easy. And I was like, okay, whatever. But I think the weather this time made it more difficult. If the weather is like absolutely perfect, I think it will not be that difficult. But yeah, weather this year was like not very good. A lot of snow, a lot
Okay.
of wind, lot of wind.
Okay. Okay. So Makalu, when we, to give people an idea and sort of, reference on the map, uh, it's most of the people know about the Everest Base Camp and the Everest, which area it is. So compared to that, because obviously when I was there, I could see, Mount Makalu. From when you gain a bit of height, you can see Makalu. So where exactly is the location, and how do you approach? What is the trail or the trek that you take?
Yeah, actually, Everest and Makalu are very close. Like, I think aerial distance is very less, maybe some 10, 14 kilometers hardly. Because when
Yes.
we were going for Summit Makalu, on our backside we could see lights approaching Everest.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
actually, Reena and Chirag, they submitted that like they attempted the same night we attempted Makalu, so we could see the lights going up,
Right.
and it's pretty cool. Baki, yes, but the trail is entirely different. Matlab, we can come from Everest base camp, but I think there is a high pass we have to cross and come. But we took from Biratnagar. We flew from Kathmandu to Biratnagar, and there's
Right.
a town called Nuhi. From there, the trek starts, and it took
Okay.
us around I think 6 days to trek. It's a long trek. 6 दिन लगे हम लोगों को, और वहां से different villages में करते, and then we reached base camp because base camp काफी ऊंचा है. It's very high, 5,700 meters पे base camp है, so that's a
Right.
pretty high base camp.
Right. So compared to Annapurna I think सबसे lowest है, like it's out about 4,000 something meters. So
Yeah,
this is, yeah. So this is higher. This is higher than higher than the EBC also.
yes,
Okay.
very high.
Okay. So doing two 8,000 meters last year, which were obviously also your first summits, as I think that was another interesting fact that I'll just briefly take the audience through is because what we'll do is we'll obviously share the link to the older chat as well, and I think you all should go through it, understanding what kind of preparation and everything that he has put in to get to last year. What he did. There were a lot of failures, a lot of learnings, a lot of no summits, and then eventually the first ever summit that he did was straight away an 8,000 meter. So that's a very rare feat, but a lot of people, it's obviously not. I'm not asking to people to take away. Okay, the first ever thing that you should do is an 8,000 meter. There's a journey, and I think you should follow that path because it's a 8,000 meters is a completely different game altogether. I think bypassing or not experiencing other levels before that is going to be a big miss because I don't think that people will have a fair idea of what mountaineering is.
Correct. Very true. Because,
So,
8,000 meters is a different game altogether. Like, I think the risk factor, as if we compare like 8,000 meters and 7,000 meters, like 7,000 meters or few are very difficult. Like even they will be more difficult than few 8,000 meters. But the risk factor in 8,000 meters is huge. Like that is uncomparable because once you are above 8,000 meters and something goes wrong, the gap from error, like the margins are very, very thin. You cannot,
right.
step this side.
Right. Okay. Actually, since you spoke about the risk and the sort of the exposure to death, if I can say, because that's what it's called. That the death zone is what it is above 8,000 meters. This year has been particularly, I think, in the news in terms of mountaineering, at least 8,000 meter wise. The news has been sort of buzzing about rescues happening, and two prominent Indian climbers were also part of that. All of this and the weather and the avalanches and everything else, it sort of in the media or at least in the news, what you see online, it paints a bleak picture of what was happening, and it was ऐसा ऐसा था बहुत dangerous के में. But was it really all danger and death and all of these things happening? Yeah, there were obviously other stories as well, the inspiring successful things like probably yours, and then yeah.
See, there are many factors I would say this year particularly if we talk about like Makalu. इस साल मकालू में बहुत विंड थी, बहुत विंड मतलब 24 hours it was windy. Now that is something very strange. Wind, like sometimes we face winds कि afternoon में wind रहेगा, mornings में wind रहेगा. Like nights are calm, but ऐसा नहीं हुआ. 24 hours there was strong wind मतलब. So this time yes, weather was a factor this time for sure. Weather was not very good, the season was bad. But जो deaths और rescues इतने ज्यादा हुए हैं, उसके बहुत सारे factors हैं. मतलब premature लोग, like people who are not prepared, first of all, I like say plainly कि they are not prepared for being on that mountain like 8,000 meters, and they fully don't appreciate the risk factor. They think just we'll use oxygen and we'll go and Sherpa is there. So that's not the correct approach. You should be always capable of coming back alone, without any help whatsoever. So that I think that point people have that basics basically like people are missing now nowadays. They are like, okay, we'll go for the summit. Okay, summit is okay, but you have to come back also. So I think वो एक चीज रही और permits बहुत issue हुए थे. Like there were a lot of climbers. Now if you see the climbers are coming from world over. पूरी दुनिया से climbers आ रहे हैं. और जो शेरपास हैं वो तो like they are from a community only ना. So how you can match those numbers? I don't know. Like and people are thinking like the statistics are saying that numbers are going to increase only. So वो
Right.
मैच होगा शेरपास का और क्लाइंबर्स का I really don't know because कहीं ना कहीं फिर क्वालिटी कॉम्प्रोमाइज होगी वो तो ऑब्वियस है.
Yeah.
इतने सारे शेरपास कैसे कहाँ से आएंगे लाइक एक तो छोटी सी
Right.
कम्युनिटी है. दे आर नॉट वेरी पॉपुलर कम्युनिटी. सो समवेयर लाइक 2-3 फैक्टर्स मिलके इस बार मुझे लगता है बहुत ज्यादा एक्सीडेंट्स हुए, रेस्क्यूज हुए एंड या एवरेस्ट पे तो बहुत ही बुरा हाल था. सो या things were bad this time.
So when you are at the base camp, आप जब यहाँ मकालू में थे, are you sort of connected with the world? Are you able to go through? Yeah. Sorry, are you able to get my question?
No, we are not.
As in, were you able to get these news? What all was happening on the mountains around in the region?
Because
and then
Everest Camp 3, we could connect with our walkie-talkie when we were at Camp 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so वहां से हम लोग बात कर पा रहे थे और सैट फोन से फिर न्यूज तो मिलती है लाइक यू गेट द न्यूज कि क्या चल रहा है.
अच्छा. Okay. So when these were happening, when you are at Camp 2, Camp 3 और अभी आपका summit attempt रहता है, and obviously the conditions are, does it play with your mind at any point? And yes, if it's happening, how do you deal with all this? All the information coming in when you're trying to focus on your summit.
See, I will not say कि it completely doesn't play in my mind. Of course, it comes to mind. But then again, like mountaineering करते हुए काफी साल हो गए तो मुझे पता है कि it's danger. It's a dangerous sport. I already know. There is no doubt about it. And about preparation, like we always knew, even at Makalu base camp, the weather was bad. So we knew this season is going to be bad. But yes, I'll give you an example. When we reached Camp 2, we slept, and the other morning when we woke up, Amit had like one of my friends, he developed some frostbite. Yeah. So yeah, that played in my mind because that I was seeing, like otherwise, yes. Yeah. Honestly, though, it doesn't change much. Like it's okay. It's a part of part of the deal. It's dangerous. That's it. We know it.
Right. Okay. And this news. Getting back home, obviously your family is also there. They are also going through these things on the internet, and I don't know if they're in touch with you or not. But if they are they sort of putting in something through your ears that okay, don't do this or that and everything? How does that happen?
Yeah, that is there, yaar. Like family they browse and news. Sometimes they take it very seriously. Because they fully don't understand like the situation, no. So right. Yeah, wife gets seriously like if she gets tense, but like she always see I give safety first priority. Summit nahi hoga, koi problem nahi, I'll come back. So my priority is always safety. So she knows that very well. So that is the way it is. Like, but yeah, mountaineering, as I said, dangerous sports तो है ही. तो उसमें it cannot be. There is no guarantees. Right. But then you can take your preparation, very good preparation, and can take precautions. और दिमाग में हमेशा ये रखो कि यार मुझे safely वापस जाना है, मुझे submit करना है, वो दिमाग में रखेंगे तो फिर then it's not the correct approach, I would say. Always think that I have to keep it safely.
Yeah. So that is also, I think, one call of when to turn back, when to know that this is the right moment to think about safety and probably not the summit, not let the summit fever catch you, and then decide to turn back. Maybe, do you think this comes with experience, or this is by nature? Some people are, they have a better sense over the others compared to others. What do you think? Yeah,
actually, I think experience always helps. Experience helps, no doubt. But yes, जो inherent nature रहता है कुछ लोगों का, that plays a vital role. Because above that altitude already oxygen is less, so your brain is not functioning much properly. So your inherent nature that will come out. So I'm safety like is my first priority. मैं को हमेशा ये बोलता हूँ सबको कि first priority is safety. तो मेरा inherent nature ही वो है. तो मैं हमेशा देख के चलता हूँ यार सब सही है. Like I'll keep on watching the surroundings कि यार कहीं कुछ avalanche zone or there is noise I'll keep hearing. So that is the way. But yes, experience helps. Why not? But I think inherent nature plays a bigger role here.
And I think from what I've seen or heard over the years is that when you're going for such dangerous expeditions or at least where the risk is very high, these 8,000s and 7,000s or very, very, technical peaks, you go with a team that you trust. You go with people that, you feel that will be able to take a call when you are not able to take a call. How important is that, and how do you decide? Okay, obviously you have been associated with you know Bharath and there has been there. But what was the team this year at Makalu? How many people were there, and then how did you go about in terms of experiencing and choosing and all?
Yeah, Makalu, we were 4 people: Bharath, Amit, Anita, and myself. So we were 4 in the team, and like with Bharath and Amit, I have climbed plenty. So we are comfortable with each. Anita was like new to me, but she was okay. So, but yeah, you very rightly you said कि यार team अच्छी होनी चाहिए and you should have full faith. I'll tell you an example what happened in Makalu when we were leaving camp 2 for camp 3. So weather was very good actually. मतलब तो हम लोग को लगा कि हमारा summit attempt है and we thought कि camp 3 we will not spend the night because हम लोग camp 3 पहुंचेंगे and same night we will go for summit and next day we'll come back. So that was the plan. So what Bharath and me decided कि among 2 of us we will share one sleeping bag. Why to carry another sleeping bag? Right. Now that something like this can only be done, if we both trust each other, like, completely. Otherwise, it's very dangerous. So हम लोग वहाँ पहुँच गए. What happened कि camp 3 पहुँचने से 3 घंटे पहले weather बहुत खराब हो गया. Like weather became seriously bad. The wind picked up very high. So when we reached camp 3, there was no chance to go for summit that night. And we had to share at 7,000, like, I don't know, I think maybe 7,300, 7,400 meters. So we two had only one sleeping bag. And now we were sharing, like 4 hours he was using it and 4 hours I was using it. We were doing it like that. And it was bitter cold, without a sleeping bag. It's not good at that altitude. But yeah, we shared it and we came through nothing like... We had no problem. We had little suffered, but we suffered and we made it through. But that is only possible if we trust each other. So you should have to trust your climbing partner completely.
Right. Okay, interesting thing now, when you were explaining, I'm trying to picture that. Okay, there's a tent and you're trying to get in the tent and it's windy and then you're trying to share sleep. So when you're going up, obviously for a Makalu 8,000, you're wearing that down suit. It's like that heavy suit that you wear. So when you go inside the sleeping bag, do you take the suit off or do you go with the suit in?
Yeah, initially you will go with the suit in, but eventually after 1.5 hours, you will feel enough hot. You'll have to, take out the sleeping bag. Oh, sorry, the down suit. But in this case, we couldn't. Whole night we were wearing the sleeping bag, the down suit, because we didn't have the sleeping bag. So it was like, yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay, another thing, at this altitude, I think maybe last chat we didn't cover this or not, but what all do you carry in terms of food? Like, because it's a long hour, in terms of supplies or, ration of food, water, energy, calories, what do you use for these long, probably 20 plus hour of, summit push and back? So what all do you carry or use?
Honestly, like earlier I used to carry stuff to eat, but I don't eat much. I don't feel like eating much. So I carry just water. Like I'll carry usually 1.5 liters of water. And that's it. 1.5 liter water from like the summit and back. For summit पे we'll drink soup, like noodles and all, like those high altitude foods and all, high calorie rice and all. वो सब summit camp पे खाएंगे. But on the way, I just use water. I don't feel like eating much. I've carried stuff in the bag, like pasta, like, raisins, kishmish. Even now, I think kishmish is good. Kishmish, I think I like the best. कुछ लोग toffee fees use करते हैं, I personally didn't like it much. So water is like, that's it for me.
Okay, and you obviously carry that in a hot flask, like it doesn't freeze up.
Please otherwise.
Okay. Even I think raisins, I've noticed that in cold temperature they get very hard, and it's difficult to chew raisins. but I guess you have no option.
We keep in the pockets. In the pockets, if you keep, they don't get that hard, but obviously they'll get little hard. But when you keep in mouth for some time, it will like get softened and it will be good.
Right. Okay. Uh, yeah, I think coming to there was another question about this I'm missing, but I think I'll come back to it again. What was different on Makalu compared to Annapurna and Kanchenjunga? Because they were obviously back to back. Annapurna has its own challenges. Kanchenjunga has probably the highest. I think what summit push from the camp.
Longest.
And then so how was this different? How was Makalu different?
Makalu, I think from camp 2 to camp 3, like for summit camp approach, that camp 2 to camp 3 was pretty tough, pretty challenging. Because usually we find summit attempt to be pretty challenging. But yeah, camp 2 to camp 3 of Makalu is pretty good. It's a challenge because people start using oxygen at camp 2, and like this time I was not using till camp 3. I used later on. So yeah, camp 2 to camp 3 is tough. That is one difference between the like Kanchenjunga and Kanchenjunga. The summit push is extreme, but before that it's okay. So here from camp 2 to camp 3 the difficulty starts, and the wind is like I've never seen a mountain like this windy. It's I don't know, the inherent nature of Makalu is like wind, and that
This I also read. I think it's there. It was not just. It was probably multiplied. The effect was multiplied with the bad weather, but it's generally a very windy mountain. That's what I've also read.
Yeah.
It is.
I also read later on, like after the summit and all, I was like, why it's that windy? And like I found out, yeah, naturally Makalu is windy, and that affects in the night. At daytime it's okay, we're not sleeping anyhow. But nighttime, no, sleep gets disturbed.
Yeah, I think that's pretty unique and different because generally in the mountains I've seen that daytime, obviously because of the sun, there will be, the weather will keep changing, the clouds will come and everything, it will get windy. Evening times, obviously the wind will pick up, but then during the night it sort of stills down.
Yes, correct.
I think it was different probably because even EBC side, I remember Everest Base Camp, through the entire route we were facing the same conditions, very very windy through the day. Once we crossed 4,000 meters. But just saying, हम लोग Gorakshep and everything, we were there, and then early morning when we used to start trekking, it used to be like no wind at all, like completely comfortable.
Correct.
The chill obviously used to be there because it's cold. It was April, but I think there was no wind at least because wind just makes it a lot worse and difficult to handle.
Yeah, wind makes a lot of difference. It doesn't let you sleep, and when you are walking, there is always in the mind, like if the altitude is high, like 7,000, 7,500 plus, there's always a thing playing in the mind that your fingers and all like are more like exposed because of the wind. So wind is a huge effect.
Right. Okay, now comparing to moving from Annapurna Kanchenjunga to Makalu, what was the preparation or training that you did differently in this year, or what all did you do to get yourself ready for it, or was it like comfortable? ठीक है, मैंने 8,000 कर लिए, अब I just have to continue this whatever, and then what was it?
No, I train like it's not. I don't get like comfortable and all. Like I always train, even if I'm going for a smaller mountain. Also, I'll train.
Right.
So that is there. And this time for Makalu, like earlier, I was planning to go without oxygen, but then a lot of factors like I started using oxygen just 15 minutes before our summit attempt, and I was like undecided, But a lot of news coming in, like people getting rescued, and the weather is bad, and the weather was bad this season. So I just, my inherent, I told you the safety aspects comes out, and I said, okay, we'll use oxygen. So, but I prepared very well this time. Like 3 months I got time because I was busy with some other project. So 3 months I prepared very well. I increased my running limit. Like earlier I used to run just 10, 11 kilometers. Maybe I will run with load, but I will not cross that 10, 11 kilometers. But last year, while preparation, I increased it to 25 kilometers. and I was focusing on speed also this time. Because see, 8,000 meters, people think about stamina, but I tell you, speed is very important. क्योंकि अगर आप धीरे चल रहे हैं सब अटेम्प्ट में तो इतना लंबा एक्सपोजर हो जाएगा कि आप like you'll make it to the top, then coming back will be difficult. So you cannot walk below a certain pace. You have to walk fast.
Right.
So वो जो theory है ना कि आराम से चलो पहुंच जाओगे, I don't think that's very valid in terms of 8,000 meters. Okay, smaller mountains, okay, but no. यहाँ पे आपको तेज चलना है, like you have to maintain a good pace. You know, you cannot be spend like hours and hours above that altitude. No, that's not gonna work. तो मैं उस एस्पेक्ट में ज्यादा गया इस बार, थोड़ा स्पीड बढ़ाई मैंने, एंड या स्ट्रेंथ ट्रेनिंग भी इस बार अच्छी खासी की थी, एंड हाई इंटेंसिटी या ये नया वर्कआउट चालू किया था मैंने HIIT, पहले नहीं करता था मैं, हाई इंटेंसिटी इंटरवल ट्रेनिंग, एंड आई थिंक दैट प्रूव्ड वेरी वेल.
Yeah. That also, I think research has also pointed out that even if you add a bit of that in your overall training, the kind of benefits that gives is actually you can compare that to adding multiple sort of multiplying your mileage by a lot.
Yeah.
वो आपको कम उसमें दे देता है effect. That the kind of things that you get. Okay, right.
And I just interrupt. Like one thing new I started this time, like we prepare for cold run तो मैंने बहुत किए, like morning I used to run like 4 o'clock and all, और हमारे यहाँ ठंड भी अच्छी पड़ती है, but this time I also started something called running in the heat, because क्या होता है ना, सन में हम लोग का जब altitude बढ़ता है, altitude and the sun becomes very harsh. So in Kanchenjunga I faced this in camp 3 से camp 4 when I was going, sun was very harsh and it was dehydrating me badly. And my speed used to drop, and also noon time, like 1 o'clock and all, I'll go for a run in blazing sun, and my UP and all, it gets seriously hot. तो वो एक नई चीज ऐड करी ट्रेनिंग में, and I think that also helped, because इस बार मुझे धूप का उतना इफेक्ट नहीं हो रहा था. Almost sun was like slowing me down a little bit, but not that much.
Right. Yeah, that's also high altitude training. Actually, heat training is in a way called poor man's altitude training, because the sort of the physiological effects are a bit similar. At altitude, the blood is drawn away from your muscles towards the brain, and same in the heat. When you're running in the heat, obviously the blood is drawn towards the skin to keep it cool, and you sweat, so it's drawn away from your muscle. That is why always when you're running in the heat, you will always notice that drop in the pace that you're running. Winters is more comfortable. I
tell you, I think running in heat is like 3-4 times more difficult than running in cold.
Exactly. अभी दिल्ली में हो रहा है, it's 42 degrees compared to obviously Delhi sometimes get 45, 46, but the humidity, it just makes it very, very difficult to sustain that pace run or that hard interval. So you factor in a 15-20% drop in your pace, and then you do your runs.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Climbing wise, Makalu, the route, what is unique compared to Annapurna, Kanchenjunga in terms of technicalities, and first that.
See, technicalities come camp 2 to camp 3. We have sections of mixed climbing, like ice plus rock. So yeah, mixed climbing is always a bit challenging, because you are wearing crampons, and all of a sudden a rock will come, and rock patch climbing, crossing with crampons is always difficult, and it's pretty steep also. So camp 2 to camp 3, there are a few sections which are pretty technical, and then we go for summit. Summit is good, like there are mixed climbing sections, but they are not very steep. But towards the end, the section is very narrow. Like you are approaching the summit, summit is very small, like you just go like climb, and it's very small summit. So when you are crossing towards the summit, the approach is very narrow. There is no place to cross. Like people were coming from the summit, and we were crossing, so I was like hugging them like this, and like there's a drop this side, and I have one anchor this side, and I like just hug them and catch the rope and remove my anchor and do like this. So it was pretty risky, but then there is no space, like you cannot, otherwise you have to wait for them to go, and it will take long time. So yeah, those sections were a bit dangerous, but otherwise it's good mountain. I wouldn't say it's very difficult, but not easy. No way, no, it's not easy at all. It's like Yeah, above average difficulty, I would say.
Yeah. I think that person who actually told you it's a pretty easy mountain, you should message him and tell, no, this is not the reality.
Yeah, actually, Bharath, somebody told Bharath this, and I was like, "Arey Bharath, who told you?"
Right. Okay. Uh, yeah, Makalu. I've also there are multiple routes, or this is one route that people climb from from the side in Nepal, because I think it's on the border of China and Nepal. So is it one route, or are there multiple routes?
I don't think it is ever climbed by from China side or any other route, because as I said, no, towards the summit, there's not much space from where you will come. Like there's one route, and I've not heard till now there is another route on Makalu, but uh, but then we have to research it a little bit more because mountaineering, there is no website to tell us everything. But yeah,
Right.
the chances are very less. I think this is the only route for Makalu. I may be wrong, but I think this is the only route.
Okay. Okay. There's some questions about the technicality. This person is asking, do you carry technical crampons then? I believe crampons, just crampons, or are there any different kind of crampons for
Yes.
these?
Yes, there are different kinds of crampons like Grivel and all. They are better for blue ice climbing and all, or tiptoe climbing. But
Okay.
usually, no, I don't carry those because then if I carry those, walking in rocks and all will become very difficult. So I carry my normal crampons. They are not technical. They are not they are for you can say all terrain sort of thing. Like if I'm climbing blue ice, hitting my tip inside, yeah, it will be slightly more difficult to do with them, but it's manageable. Other aspects they are good, like snow and rock, and they are more comfortable. But if I carry purely technical, then other part rock and all, I'll suffer. And carrying two
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. Like we don't carry two, nobody carries two.
You want to be lightweight anyways, at least going up and changing and everything. Yeah. So
No,
all
no, changing and all
of
like
these
it will.
things when you go, so when you go get into tents and everything, you obviously you take off the crampons and your boots, and then you get into the tents and sleeping bag. So yeah, it's obviously it's so at those altitude you have to take off your gloves to be able to tie the crampons again.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, we'll be using liners. Like everybody, I also use liners. I use double liners inside. So those liners I can work comfortably. But yeah, with mittens, it's impossible to wear crampons. No, you cannot do that.
So yeah, because that's a very narrow window. Some people, even with liners or taking off their warm layer, they can get that frostbite sort of a thing. Because that it takes about, let's say, 2 minutes or something to tie your crampons, and that exposure can also sometimes get you close to that frostbite, feeling numb.
Yeah, actually, frostbite is very curious case. I tell you, I've seen even I think Bharat was using bare hand at times. He was wearing mittens. He was not wearing liner, so he was clipping and clipping himself with bare hands. Also, Sherpas was also doing it. I was using a very thin liner. I always use thin liner. So, and my friend he was using mittens and he still got frostbite. So now, yeah, that's a bit curious case. I think it depends person to person. How is your blood flow in the
Yeah,
tips and all? And when you're inside the
exactly.
gloves, I usually keep my fingers moving all the time. My fingers and my toes are
Mm,
moving all the time.
right.
So yeah, take care. I think even with the thin liner, you won't get frostbite. But then again, there's a limit to everything. You cannot be wearing liners 8,000, 8,200 plus. Then you need mittens only. But
Right,
momentarily,
right.
I think we can remove. Like for clicking photos and all, we remove the mittens. Like summit photo, if you see mine, I'm just wearing liners. So that's working, not a problem.
Right. And what I think also I've understood in terms of the science, the physical sciences, that if your core temperatures goes down, then also obviously no matter what you wear, it's very difficult to get back, to get that warmth out till you actually do some activity and then you can get warmer. But it takes a longer time to obviously get that.
Yeah, because the altitude increases, there is very less oxygen. So once you get cold, then to warm up, yeah, it takes a long time. So it's better to
Yeah.
keep walking. That's why, if we keep walking, body is always
Yeah.
warm.
Walking or keep moving or doing something, at
Yes,
least
doing
in
some
your,
activity.
right. Okay. Next, coming to going to your activities that you have been recently doing, I mean, I've seen on Instagram, I've been following you obviously, so we see that you're getting much active in terms of sharing your adventures, where you're going, what you're doing, also your workouts, the kind of effort that you're putting in, uh, you know, has that has that inspired anyone around? Because obviously I see that and I get to see and understand, okay, yeah, you know what, if you're doing something like what he's doing, you really need to put that kind of an effort. So, what made you do all of, get active online, and then what has been the messages from people around generally?
Yeah, I've actually earlier before I was not taking many pictures. Like I'm not the guy, like clicking pictures and all. Like I just go climb, enjoy, and come back. But then over time I realized that like for sponsorship and other things. So I started the social media thing, and then now eventually yes, people have approached me. They have asked how to start mountaineering, and it's good to see like okay that my posts are creating some difference in somebody. So that way
Yeah,
now I'm like more comfortable or more like what to say, motivated to keep the social
right,
media thing going.
right.
Because yes, there have been messages, but few messages, like few people know I'm still like like some people they called me, they messaged me and said sir, I want to start mountaineering and all, and we started chatting, and then he said like I want to climb Everest and make a record. And I was like ki, Arey boss, like you don't even know what is mountaineering now. So that mentality, I don't know why this is happening to like our like fellow Indians. Record,
Hmm.
please. Forget the record. Just first enjoy mountaineering. Okay, eventually,
Yeah,
if you get the opportunity, you have the capacity, go for it. There's nothing wrong in it, but at least enjoy first. First know that something, then you go for it. So, person who
right.
goes on from the baby first step, they are thinking about records. That
Hmm.
is not very right way. But yeah, all kinds of people we meet, but few people have very positive messages and everything.
Okay. Coming to inspiring people and also, let's say, encouraging others to your people from your work line. You are in merchant navy, and I've recently met a few people who obviously they spend a lot of time out in the ocean, and then they get a bit of a, some of them at least, from what I know, you and then another couple of people I know, they get this thing for adventure from within, and then when they get back to land, they want to do something, they want to experience adventure, go in the outdoors, and mainly to the mountains. So, what do you? Is there a message that you want to give to people in your work line, your profession, on what mountaineering is, or what they may want to experience, and how sort of special this is?
Yeah, actually, like seafarers in general, like we have the adventure thing in our mind. Like it's not, I mean, it's our work. We work out at sea, and the sea sometimes the weather will go bad, something or the other will keep going on. So there is always uncertainty, and that leads to that our brain is wired for adventure. So we are okay with it. We feel good with it actually in some sense. I
Right.
also sometimes miss like going back to ship and all. So, and they are physically fit, and we are like physically very fit, because in ship, like it's not a easy work.
Hmm.
So physically and mentally we are already prepared for emergencies, for long working hours. So those things plays very good. And yeah, as seafarers, I think we should come to mountains. Why not? It's a good journey. We'll surely enjoy
Yeah.
it.
Right. And another sort of a thing on that like for example, this person that you were talking about was saying that he wants to do a record, make a record, but obviously not hasn't even started mountaineering yet. So, what kind of mindset and commitment you feel people, as an advice you want to give to people, you need for mountaineering to be a mountaineer? What kind of mindset, and especially how does that evolve for an 8,000 meter peak?
Yeah, see, the mindset, first of all, like you have to be very, like never give up. That attitude has to be there. Like you have to give your
Hmm.
100%. You should be ready for that, because body, when body is exhausted, 30, 35% only, your mind will start telling you, boss, you are tired, come, go back. So that will happen. That happens with everyone. Everybody feels the same. But we have to, keep going. And we have to know the point where we have to actually come back. So
Right.
that is the biggest advice I'll give for newcomers who want to join mountaineering. That you know yourself very well first. Train hard, and during training, achieve your break point once or twice. So you will know, okay, this is my break point. I cannot go beyond that. Because in training, okay, you achieve your break point, maybe you'll fall down or you'll collapse. Like it's okay, nothing major will happen. But that break point should never reach in mountains because you have to come back also. So for newcomers, advice that you have to train hard, and whichever expedition you take, research thoroughly. Go with a good agency or go with your good climbing partners or friends whom you trust, and start slow. No need to think or record on. Like those things will follow. If you have the capacity, those things will follow.
Right. So that's fairly simple advice. So that the thing complicated. I think that's what I was saying. There's a question. No, that's good. But that's what kept it simple. That's what is basically needed. There's a question from Anurag. He's saying, are there any signs to look for just before the avalanche happens? Temperature, wind, snow, wise.
See, actually, honestly speaking, there is no 100% perfect science. Like nobody can 100% predict it. But yes, we can look for signs. Like okay, slope first of all. If it's too steep, it's 80 degree, 90 degree. There is no chance of avalanche. Now the avalanche comes from exact angle, but that will come with experience how to look. A ridge which is prone of avalanche. So there has to be I say 40 to 70 degrees angle. Then there is a chance of avalanche because below that the altitude is the slope is very less. There will be no avalanche. Now the second point is weather. Now early morning and night when it is cold, usually there will be no avalanches. Now the avalanche trigger either it is fresh snow, like it has been snowing say for 10, 12, 20 hours, and then you just go straight away. Then there is high chance of avalanche. Second thing is when it is very hot.
Right.
So like usually afternoon. That is why the reason is we summit in the night and we come back before evening. Because afternoon, evening and all that is the dangerous time for avalanches. And sometimes you can see actually the cracks developing. Like I have seen in Himachal, Manirang, there was a expedition I went to in April. April is not the season. We just went for preparation. So as I'm walking on the slope, I could see a crack develop on the top. But that I heard and saw and I ran back. But okay, that is very the time you get to escape, that is very less.
Right.
So you have to be aware of the surroundings. Other than that, there's no way to actually predict it, because I have seen avalanches completely unaware. Like we are standing and the avalanche came straight away and we couldn't predict it.
Yeah, but it's pretty because I remember I was there in the going towards the EBC this year in April, and I was walking straight, obviously looking towards the Everest base camp, and I heard this loud bang on the right side, and I saw on Nupse there was an avalanche coming down, and it was completely obviously like a steeper slope, like you're saying where avalanches don't come, they usually don't come, and because obviously it has been snowing for a few days before, so something on this slope obviously there was unstable. Snow formations or something, and then it came down. So I think the bigger factor is that if it has been snowing continuously for the last just a few days leading up to the also it's on the kind of let's say and everything, and I think obviously those are deeper technicalities that we obviously don't know much about. But like for example, this late season snow, the one that comes in March and April, this doesn't last long. This will melt away soon after the sun. So this has higher chances of, again, I was there on the Friendship Peak, so I could hear an avalanche every 5 minutes from somewhere.
Yes.
It was coming, So because it was all unstable, fresh sort of
snow. And then the entire slab comes down. Fresh snow is different avalanche. And this one which we are talking about, it snowed and then it heated. Then it will become a slab. And then later on the entire slab comes down.
Yeah. That's an
It's
even more
not.
dangerous one. Yeah, because that comes with a lot of force and
Yes. Yeah, it comes with a lot of force.
yeah, right. Okay. Lovely conversation. Finishing on the note of asking you what's next.
Uh, I think I'm preparing for Everest next year, and like Everest plus Lhotse basically, and I'm planning to do
Okay.
it twice. I mean, yeah, nobody has ever done it twice in the world, so
Can you
let's
take
see.
it?
But
Can you take the people a bit through of what twice means? Like in terms of plan on the calendar, how is it spanning out?
on time date wise, like April will start, May mid first summit will happen, and then we have to
Right.
come back to Kathmandu and rest, recover for like say maybe 3-4 days. Usually it takes 3 to 4 days for body to recover,
Right.
and then go back again. Finance is involved, so like it's just a plan for now. What will like a
Right.
year to materialize.
Would you want to come back to all the way to Kathmandu from the base camp, or you would want to stay at the base camp for a few days and then climb again? But
No, no.
do you think that recovery would be better back in the
Yeah.
town?
I'll come back to Kathmandu if we do go there ahead with the plan. I'll come back to Kathmandu because better food and the altitude is lowered, so body recovers faster. So yeah, Kathmandu is a lot better.
Fantastic. All the best for that. I hope we get to I hope we get to see you do that. But and that's the only plan for 2024, or are there any other peaks?
There's Dholagiri, like Bharat is going for Dholagiri, and again like it's his last 8,000 meter, and
Okay.
so we have planned to go together. In fact, Makalu also we planned to summit together, and we did it. We have the summit photo together. So Dholagiri
Wow.
again, that is the. So if Everest doesn't pan out financially, so Dholagiri is always there.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I think exciting 2024 then. Looking forward
Yeah,
to the journey.
right.
Yes. Right. Okay. Thank you, Satya. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for the insights. Thank you for the
Thanks.
knowledge and everything. And I hope people have enjoyed and learned through this. And yeah, we'll try and, I'll obviously put the link to the previous chat as well. And I think you can go through both and understand because we have discussed different details
Yeah.
in both of these conversations. So yeah. Right. Okay. Thanks, Satya. Good night. Thanks for joining.